Hello, Miss Ruby. Hi, sweetheart. It's time for bugs. Are you ready for bugs? I think so. Miss Ruby never disappoints when it comes to protein day. With her, she's one of my dragons I have to count. Because not only do I have her on a lose a couple grams regimen, but she will eat till her stomach hurts and then feel miserable the whole time she's digesting. So, you know, they're all different. But she's a good girl, and she's one of my better eaters. I think next to Chimera, she's my second best eater. I never have to worry about, is she going to eat? Of course she is. She always does. I just have to worry about how much is she going to eat. So, you know, that's where we are with her. She has come such a long way. She's now 3. I've had her a year. And she was so scrawny. Oh my God, you guys. 116 grams when I got her, and she was 2 years old. But she didn't look really as bad or as emaciated. She looked emaciated, but not as bad as Chimera, because she was also, her growth is stunted because she didn't have the right nutrition. So she's a lot shorter. She's the shortest dragon in the house. And so, she didn't look as bad, although she was every bit as bad. But she also, I mean, she was another one. I had to wait and see if she was going to make it for a few days. And she finally decided that even though she had never had a live feeder, so this was really novel for her. And so that was a twofer. Good job, lady. And so when she had actual living feeders, oh my God, she went a little nuts. And so, and what I didn't know when I was rehabbing her, that I didn't find out till later, is that her metabolism wasn't normal because of the starvation that she had had the first 2 years of her life. So had I known that, I probably would have fed her differently or started her out. Because what I didn't realize too is that we were starting a whole new type of feeding with her. They had only given her freeze-dried bug parts. She was only getting a bath once every 5 or 6 weeks, you guys. And she, again, red snake light for basking, which wasn't warm enough. And she only got UVB. They said when it burned out. My issue was when I went to get her, much as when I went to get Mr. Chimera, she didn't have one. There wasn't one on her enclosure. No UVB at all. So I don't really know if she ever truly had one. She was facing a window, which I think was probably good. Or she probably wouldn't have had any. It was probably her only source. But you guys know, when you have a bearded dragon, they absolutely need UVB in order to digest their food. Well, she probably would have gotten sick or died of an impaction with the food she was being fed earlier, except because all it was freeze-dried bug parts. It wasn't even whole bugs. It literally was bug parts in some kind of pellet, which again she won't eat. So, I don't know what she was living on for the first 2 years. Winging a prayer, I guess. However, one of the reasons I still have her is because I will not subject her to being the property of a child again. I feel really strongly, you guys, when I take a dragon out of a situation, spend the time, the money, the resources to rehab them and hope that they survive. When they do survive, I feel really strongly that they do not go back into the environment I took them out of. So, yes, she's beautiful. Yes, she's gorgeous. That tangerine beard is enough to kill you because it's gorgeous. And she's a sweet girl now, although she ran from human hands for several months. I don't want her to be the pet of a child. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't give her to a family. I would give her to a family as long as the adults were willing to take over her care. Okay, so I've had 3 people look at her seriously, really considering, you know, an animal, and would not agree. The other problem that I'm having with her is everybody says, oh, she's so pretty. Are you going to breed her? No. And she shouldn't be bred because part of her being so thin and her level of growth being so limited is that she's got an extremely narrow pelvis and very narrow hips. And she doesn't have enough length really to even attempt it. So, you know, what I'm telling people is you need to just take this girl and just love her for who she is. You should not attempt to breed her because she would get so egg bound that, you know, she could die just trying to lay the eggs. So it's not worth putting her life at risk because it's not a necessary thing to do. There's 1,000 bearded dragons out there if you want one. You do not need to breed one. So there's that. And the other thing is, she needs a companion. She needs somebody who wants to spend some time with her, you know, when they get home from work and have dinner and feed her bugs and then, you know, sit and hang out together while you watch TV or, you know, just, you know, read a book together, whatever it is. But she needs interaction from somebody who just loves her to pieces. So if they can't offer that, then she's not going with them. It's that simple. I do not do this work to get them back to the world of the living for somebody to just go ahead and ignore them or neglect them or give them back to their kid. Like, this is not a child's pet. So if the adults in the family won't agree to take on her care, the other thing I do when I place a dragon is I tell them that for any reason, if you can't keep a dragon that you get from me, or your circumstances change, or for whatever the reason you cannot continue their care, you need to give them back to me so that I can see where they are and whether or not they're a candidate for another rehoming or whether they're just going to be a permanent fixture here. Because at least they know when they come back here that there's going to be food, light, and heat that's going to be set at what they need it to be. So if they come back and they've been too traumatized because they've been moved around too much, then they'll stay. And I always have to really think about it, because the problem is when I do that with a dragon and I agree to keep them permanently, that's one rescue that I can't do because I don't have enough room and I don't have enough tanks. I mean, poor Ruby's been in my medical tank the whole time she's been here because I didn't expect her to stay. So this summer, my goal is I have to change Finian's enclosure anyway, because with him falling so much, I have to get a shorter tank. His is very tall. And so it needs to be shorter so that everything is shorter. And I need to get him one of these basking spots over here like she has, where he can just easily walk up and get it. So the other thing I want to do is I want to get Ruby a more permanent tank if she's going to be a while. And then, you know, give her just a little bit more ground space. This is a wonderful tank to use for a dragon that's new and needs to be in rehab, because it's big enough, but it's not too big for a sick or injured dragon that they have to work too hard to get around. And I don't have to, you know, worry that they're going to get caught on anything, or, you know, the surface is not going to be right. It's right for the lights and the heat that I have set, so that's not a concern in this tank. It's front opening. I only want front opening terrariums because, you know, fish tanks are okay if you don't mind and you have long arms. You don't mind reaching over their heads all the time, but I don't like it because, you know, again, I get these guys in from traumatic situations, and the last thing I want to do is be over their head where they think it's a predator. You know, I want to come at them from the front so it's an even playing field, which is another reason I let people know, if you're having trouble getting your dragon to like you or to be, you know, social with you or anything, and you're hand feeding them and you're doing all this other stuff. I always tell people, if you have a top opening terrarium, consider getting front opening. It makes such a world of difference, I can't even tell you. And so that's my soapbox for today, guys. But yeah, she's a beautiful girl and she's very nice. She gets a little jumpy sometimes, but she's very, very smart. She loves everything shiny, and I don't know if that's a girl thing or if that's just her, but she loves, loves, loves anything shiny. She loves her bugs. She likes to be in the car. You know, she's just learning now to start getting used to people, and not everybody with a kid's going to be mean to her. But it's taken me, you know, a year to get her to that point. So now she is. I mean, she's just gorgeous. Huh, Miss Ruby? I named her Ruby because, well, she named herself. I gave her a couple of choices, and that was the one she responded to. But they were calling her Goby because they thought she was a male. And she was, you know, a desert dweller, so Goby seemed like a good idea to them. Well, I didn't like it, and the fact that she was a girl meant, hey, I can change that. You know, if they come with a name that they've had a long time and they're older and they respond to it, then I'm not going to change it, because why? However, with this little sweet, she was only 2. She never responded to her name. She obviously is a girl, and so there was no reason, you know, to keep that name. So I offered her a couple choices, and the first couple, she just absolutely zero response. She just stared at me like, are you out of your mind? And so I said, well, how about Ruby? So what do you think, Miss Ruby? And she was all about it. So I'm like, all right, sold. Oh, that one made a run for it, Miss Ruby. He's still making a run for it. Oh, got him. There you go, sweetheart. So she is Miss Ruby because she's a little jewel, as she is today. So I don't know if she'll ever get a home. I mean, if she doesn't, she's welcome to stay. But like I said, it just means that'll be one less dragon that I can help that might need a rescue situation, because there's only just so much room and tanks and resources to go around. So, but she's beautiful. I cannot believe they advertised her as a white male dragon. I don't know what they were thinking. But anyway, as you can see, she's a beautiful tangerine girl. And that's the last one, Miss Ruby. That is the last one. I know. You'd like to have more, wouldn't you? I'm telling you guys, she'd polish off the entire cup until she threw up, and that's not a good place for her to go. But see, she's beautiful. Yes, you are. You're beautiful. Yep. Yes, you are, Miss Ruby. So pretty. Just so pretty. So that's everybody's bug day. You notice that Chimera ate about 25. Merlin ate about 12 or 14. Miss Ruby didn't bother her at all. She took down 28 roaches, and she is full. She doesn't think so. She'd like to eat more. But that's what I mean. Her issue is, you know, she binges because she starved for the first 2 years of her life. And so part of her, you know, mental note is that, you know, I don't know when or if I'll ever be fed again, even though she's had food every day that she's been here for over a year. She just is like, I never know. So I'm gonna gorge while I can, because right now I can see it and I can eat it. And then, so I'm gonna gorge, and then that way, if they don't feed me for a couple days, I'm still all right. I mean, that's what her mind tells her. It'd be like a child hoarding food, because they had been hungry and they don't want to be hungry again. So they hoard. So this is the psychological piece that goes along with the physical piece when dragons are neglected or abused. They have a social emotional component to their personalities. You can't neglect one and then just work on the other and go, well, that'll be enough. No, it won't be enough. You got to do the whole thing. Right, Miss Ruby Doobie? You sticking your tongue out? Hi. Hi, sweetheart. See? It's just my hand. You want to look at my rings? See? It's just rings, baby. It's okay. See, she's a love now. But I would not put her back in a situation that would cause her to be that grief-stricken again. I will not watch her go through that. So, that's my situation. So that's everybody today, guys. I hope everyone had a good start to their week. And I'm going to be doing a video later in the week about why you should have a playpen for your dragon. Why or why not. There are a couple of cons and a few pros. So that'll be interesting. And you'll get to see everybody again on that video. So stay tuned. Have a good rest of your week. Bye, guys.